Hello, everyone. This is Sarah Altier with Actation Now, and this is the Midweek Zap, and I am so honored today. We're going to have a free-for-all conversation with Ammon Johns and Bill Slawski, the Wyld Stallyns of SEO, and we'll take any and all questions about SEO. So, first, for people who don't know you, let's have Bill and then Ammon tell folks a little bit about yourself.
Okay, sure. I can start off. I may not have an image showing, but I am here. Uh, I started doing SEO in 1996. I started promoting a website back then that a couple of friends had started up. I helped them uh, build their first website and put it online and started promoting it on the web. Uh, One day, my friend's sister, who she worked for Digital Equipment Corp, sent us an email saying, "Hey, you guys might like this website." It was a link to Alta Vista, and that was the first real search engine that we had seen. And we said, "Yeah, we want to be in that," and we figured out how. Uh, then a number of months later, same thing happened with Google, and we figured out how to be in that. And that was when I really started doing SEO.
Ah, okay.
hmm Uh,
Ammon, what about you?
I'm another one of those ones who sort of stumbled into this. I've done sales and marketing related jobs before. And believe me, I'm one of those people who had a lot of jobs, lots of different jobs trying to find that career. And I always say I was kind of waiting for the internet to be invented. But I started doing some web design for myself because I was on shift work, and that led me to have a computer for games, and that led me to exploring the internet, and that led me to, oh, let's build my own website. And then I started building some websites for friends, and then it got to be friends of friends, and then it got to be the kind of friends of friends that have to offer you money. And that's how I started doing web design. And brave people who took me on, because I, I don't have the eye. I look at some real web designers and I just don't have that eye. I can knock up something that looks pretty nice and that does the job, but I'm not a designer when I see real designers. And it got to be one of those things. Well, we've got the website, but we heard there were millions of people online. Where are they? Ooh, interesting question. Let's see if we can work it out. And it was trying to drive traffic and promote those websites that led me into my career. By a year's time, most people that were coming to me were saying, do we have to have a new website? Because actually we just want you to do for us what you've been doing for our friend George, who told us all about you. We want that traffic thing you do. And since that traffic thing didn't seem like the greatest domain at the time, I had web marketing. And that's where it all started.
All right, great. And I just want to say that on Tuesdays, Bill and Ammon have their Bill and Ammon bogus hangout. And boy, if you want conversation about anything and everything, but with a strong lean towards search engine optimization, it's a great place to be because it's totally non-scripted and anything can happen. It's just a delightful learning experience and a great place for conversation. So I'd like to say that. How long have you been doing that now? A year?
Uh, it's I think over a year. We're on 53 episodes, and we've skipped quite a few weeks over the time, so
Right. Okay.
it
Yeah.
must be 14 to 16 months.
Well, anyway, I highly recommend for everyone.
We have a lot of fun.
Uh,
Bill and I
so,
first met
um,
in forums, and discussion is part of the core of SEO. If you look at all of the great SEOs, all of the hardcore SEOs, it was always about the discussion in the early days, and there's still a lot of discussion, but some of it's sort of moved into private spaces and off of the main area.
Mhm.
Blogging was always for other people, not necessarily for SEOs.
Before there was Twitter, before there was Facebook, there were discussions happening in forums across the web, and it was how we got to learn what other people were looking at, what other people were trying to do, marketing their websites, uh, and sharing ideas at places like that helped each other.
Yep, that's right. I think that Google Plus is is similar in that regard, where real conversations go on and people do help each other, and um, because Facebook has never been like that, as far as I'm concerned.
Mhm. There's a community I'm a member of in Google Plus where people talk about semantic marketing and schema, and we've got people from Google actually participating there and
Yep.
answering people's questions, which is nice to have.
Okay, people are having trouble viewing, and I don't know. Hangouts is being temperamental. We don't see Bill at all. Um, and I got kicked out before the show started, so my apologies. Try refreshing and see what happens, everyone. My apologies. Everything seems to be working fine here. I just think it's a Hangout glitch. So we'll just soldier on through. So let's just get this conversation going because I haven't seen any questions come up yet. So what is the main purpose of search engine optimization, SEO, as people say?
Well, when I say that, we started off just trying to drive traffic, there were many methods that we tried and used. There were many things that used to be done back in the day, such as banner swaps, where you'd put banners for other people's sites on your site, and in return they'd show banners for your site on theirs. There were web rings, which were similar, where sites that had related topics and related audiences would link to each other. Ways of kind of, if you've enjoyed this and enjoyed exploring that, why don't you check out this? So the recommendation system was one of the early ones. And the main alternative to that, other than paying for advertising, was, of course, search. We realized that people were coming from search engines. We saw the hits on our own site. And we said, okay, how can we make this happen more often? How do we take questions that people have and let them find us, our answers to them? And that's where SEO comes in. And it's one of the most economic ways of promoting information generally, but websites in particular.
Say that last sentence again.
It's one of the most economic ways possible of promoting a website.
One
Yeah.
of the questions that we ask ourselves when we're working on SEO for a website is, what do the audience members for this website want to know? What questions do they have? What information do they, what do they want to know something about? Let's create content to put on the website that includes that type of information, that answers their questions, that provides information that fulfills their situational or informational needs. And that's what we sort of aim at when we create content for the web that we want the search engines to index and attract people to our website through. So we're working to increase the visibility of our websites by addressing the needs of our customers.
That's pretty succinct, Bill. Because if visitors are coming to your website but they're not doing anything, then what's the point of getting them to your website?
Right. But it's important to match their intent.
Yes.
So when somebody searches for pizza at Google, they don't want the history of pizza. They want to know where they can find a slice of pizza locally.
Unless they're in Italy, in which case they might want the history of pizza, the area.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah.
It's one of the things that we do talk about a lot and is critically important, is context changes things. And Google has been grappling with this for several years now, and they've been moving further and further into ways to determine more clues from context. And it's certainly one of the areas where particularly small businesses really lag behind sometimes, is understanding context. It's difficult. As a small business owner, you are trying to juggle so much, you're trying to do so many things, and really getting out of your own position and into the position of a customer to understand them is very, very difficult from that position. But you absolutely have to do it.
And Google's most recent really big updates have involved context heavily. The Hummingbird and the Rank Brain updates, where they tried to understand better the queries that people perform when they're searching for something and understand what they're really asking for. And that context is important.
Okay, we have a question here. Hold on a second. Molly Youngblood Geiger says, my question is in terms of search engine optimization and online reputation management. Do you think both of these strategies go hand in hand?
Absolutely. These are all about, if somebody does a search for this, what are they finding? And if what they're finding is negative reviews or bad opinions or people saying, oh, whatever you do, don't go with this company, that is a search engine optimization issue.
Right. We define the word reputation by what other people are saying about your business. Because a reputation isn't yours, it's what other people have to say about you. And if people are saying things that aren't very nice about you, and those things are being found online, you want to be part of that conversation if you can. You want to be able to respond to reviews in positive ways that people say, these guys don't sound so bad. Maybe we should ignore this review or at least give them the benefit of the chance to talk.
Yes, I think that we're all becoming more aware of how important context is in pulling things together from the Google search perspective. And I know as a writer, it's really important for me, to make sure that the context within the content is making sense and that the terms inside of that content relate to each other and relate to that main topic.
Yeah. And conversely, funny enough, there are times when companies will imagine they have a reputation issue that's much bigger than it really is because it shows up in a search they're doing. One case in particular was a very large financial institution over here in the UK who'd, by the time they came to the agency I was working with, had spent a lot of money, 3 rounds of legal battles against a domain that was their brand complaints.com, which was some dissatisfied customer who was going around trying to find everything bad ever said about them and collate it in one place.
Oh my gosh.
But it only showed up for their brand complaints searches. And the only one doing that, we had a look at what is the. We had more tools back then that told us things like this, but we said, right, what's the search volume on this?
So it's a tempest in a teapot sort of type thing.
Yeah, there were 10 searches for this a week, and we knew that at least 9 of them were the CEO seeing if it was still there.
Yeah, right.
The other one was probably the site owner himself checking that it was still there. So it was a non-issue, but they'd spent over £50,000 in legal fees.
Oh my gosh.
By this stage, And the SEO campaign, I think we charged 5,000. But what we did was simply make sure that didn't show up anymore by putting up some good results, or rather showing them how they could get good results for that search if they wanted to. So changing some of their procedures so that their complaints procedure was more transparent and it was available. The first thing that Google wants to rank for that is your own complaints department, if there is one.
Now,
Yeah.
sometimes these reputation problems are bigger than that. I got a phone call one night from a woman who was telling me that her son had had some problems as a juvenile with the law, and the local newspaper had written an article about him, named him, probably shouldn't have, given his age, and he was trying to go out and get a job, and every time he tried to get a job, the people who were considering hiring him were looking him up on Google, finding this news article and not hiring him.
Mm.
And she asked me, what do I do to get him to stop showing up in those search results? We started discussing how he could create a website using his name, join forums using his name as the profile name, join social networks using his name as profile name and so on, and push his name down in that search result. And that would be one way.
Create better results, because at the end
Right.
of the search engine wants to show good results for every query. And if the results that are there at the moment aren't what you'd like, make a better result.
We have some feedback from people, so I'm going to bring a couple of things up here. Sheila Hensley says, addressing the needs of our customers. Great answer, Bill. And Rick says, whoops, I lost Sheila. Let's see if I can make this happen. Says, making it easy for search engines to search your websites and find answers to questions people may have. That is my understanding of SEO.
Well, making it possible for people to search the web and find your answers maybe is a little closer. It's more than just a site search, even though if you're Facebook, you may think that Facebook is the web, and that's where people should find answers. So it goes beyond just showing up with your own website, because
I'd even take it a little further, because when we're doing it really well, what we're looking for is for people that we can mutually benefit, i.e. we can help them, and in turn that will help our business. And sometimes that's not about them looking for answers that we can provide necessarily. It's looking for things we can do to help them at stages that will then lead to places where they may need us directly. So one of the examples Bill and I have both talked about in the past is, imagine that you're a timber yard or you sell tools. Giving people plans to build things, those DIY projects, how to build a birdhouse, how to build a doghouse, how to make a patio, how to do all of these kind of things. It gives them help to do it. It gives them a little bit more confidence to do it. And of course, it's going to show them which tools they're going to need. And you don't do this in a hard sell way. It's not about pushing your tools. It's about the fact that if you help people, most of the time, they will want to deal with you again. They will see you as helpful. So when they do need something that you do, they remember you.
right, if you, for instance, are a lumber yard and people are interested in building stuff, on your website you put links to places that provide instructions on how to build a deck, how to build a birdhouse, what tools to use to build things. You're looked at as a valuable member of the community and a resource to help people, and that's looked upon kindly too.
So do you see it like a recipe when you lay out not just the ingredients but all the tools that you're going to need? You know, the mise en place before you actually start cooking. You know, you're going to need a bowl, and you're going to need a whisk, and you're going to need, you know, a large saucepan or whatever it is. It's all the tools that go into this. Often, I know when I used to write recipes, I used to do that. I used to include every single tool that you would need, as well as just the food ingredients.
Yeah,
Because
it's all that first point Bill made, that it's about understanding the customer. This is still part of marketing, and in marketing, rule number one is know your market, know
yep,
your customer, understand their pain points, and think about those first, and it will help guide what kind of searches they're going to be making before they're in that shopping stage. Because if you've shown up even before they've started shopping and you've already helped them, then when they do start shopping, if your name shows up anywhere in that list, I know them, they're good.
I took a class in law school with the vice chancellor of Delaware's Equity Court. It's one of the highest, busiest business courts in the country. And the best legal advice this professor who taught this class would give would be, make it easy for me to be responsive to you, to say yes to whatever you propose as a motion. The easier you make it for me to say yes, the more likely it is that I will. So,
Bill, I have a question in that regard, and that is, if you're making it easy for people to say yes, are there any special things that someone should do on their website that will facilitate that yes agreement?
The main issues that people will have are, they want to solve a problem and there are obstacles in their way, and some of those obstacles are lack of knowledge. Some of them are about trust. How I'm getting conflicting views, or there are multiple options here. Which one do I trust is best for me? Those are all things that you need to be addressing. You need to be smoothing people's way. You're very rarely going to take somebody who doesn't want to deal with you and make them deal with you. That's not what you're doing.
That's not
This
going to
isn't
happen
about
very
persuasion.
often.
This is about making it easier for things to happen. And that is so largely about understanding their pain points and their sticking points in ways that other people are still missing. And you'd be amazed at how often people are still missing this. Even this is why small businesses have done very well on the web. Traditional large businesses really find this difficult. They really find this difficult.
right. Books that are often about how successful small businesses can be talk about how nimble they have the possibility to be, how responsive they can be.
Yes.
And you make it easy for people to understand your product, buy it, answer questions that they may have, provide references and resources that make it easier for them to say, yes, this is what I want. Uh, those are all positive
There is
steps.
one group that are even more nimble than a lot of small businesses, and of course that's the bloggers. And this is one of the reasons that bloggers think they are so powerful. Oh look, we tend to dominate in this and we dominate in this area. Yes, it's because of that nimbleness, because of the very fluidity of the nature of a blog sometimes. And I think one of the best places you ever see that is the travel industry. The travel industry spend millions every year on trying to rank well in search and market their products. And most people use travel blogs to decide where they're going and what it's the biggest influence on people for where they take their vacation. And the reason for that is that the bloggers are talking about the experience. They're talking about the activities and all the things you go to a place for. Whereas, of course, the holiday companies are talking about our hotel room. It has beds and it has towels. Well, wow, I never knew a hotel room would have beds and towels. That really sets you apart from all of the competition. But if you look at it, somebody like the Hilton chain, the entire point of that chain is that every hotel is the same, effectively. They are trying to standardize the experience, so no matter where you go, there's something you can rely on that's not going to feel alien and foreign and
Right.
uncomfortable to you. It's kind of like Starbucks. Starbucks doesn't have a lot of the flavor of a coffee shop that we used to really love about our local coffee shop. The one that knew our name and had a
Right.
distinct character. It gives a generic experience so that people who travel wherever you go, Starbucks is going to be much the same. It's familiar.
Right.
Well, a lot of hotels are like that.
That's the appeal of chain hotels and chain restaurants. They're exactly the same regardless of where you go. Your expectations can be the same with the McDonald's down the street as the one in Florida or in Arizona or in France. Well, maybe a little different in France, but
So we have a couple of more questions, so let me, bring them up. So John Moore, hi John, says, what about finding ways to broadening and making second level connections to what and how you can help?
Yeah. And this is I often think about what are they going to search for before they search for the thing that you provide. And one example I've given a few times is, I work with a big mortgage company. And, there's good money in mortgages. But what do people look for before they look for the mortgage? Well, often they look for the house. And by showing up a lot when people were searching for their house and looking in particular neighborhoods, my brand had been seen and was known, and they felt like they'd been seeing it everywhere. Connecting on a broader level can often be, what do people tend to do before they do this? You're an accountant, okay? You want new businesses to come to you to, do their accounts, because there's more people going to come to you that way than just people who are swapping accountants.
so
Well,
as a marketer, you want to be able to anticipate where the people who are your audience might go and talk,
yeah,
might discuss whatever business you're involved with, and things that tend to be related to it. And
exactly that.
And I
If,
think
if
that's
you're a
a
fitness
really,
coach,
go
if
ahead,
you're a
Ammon.
fitness coach, you might want to be involved with local dieting groups and places like that first, because a lot of people will try a diet as a quick fix before then going with a fitness coach, or they may try self-help classes before going with a fitness coach. Now, if you knew about those and you'd reviewed some of those and were talking about those and helping them find a good one and pointing out where they may struggle to find the resolve, and you as a coach, this is what you do for people, is you provide that extra impetus, that extra level of measurement that they might not turn up to the group that week, but this coach is coming to your house.
And that level of thoughtfulness is something that people appreciate.
Yeah.
Yep, that's really, really true. And just real quickly, John Moore says, Ammon John's exactly. And then, and I want to say something, Ammon. I am so honored that you have your Black Knight background today. I'm truly honored. Thank you very much. And we have a question from Molly again. Here we go. I'm also curious what your thoughts are about the recent announcement from Google Plus Post being pulled into Knowledge local card search results, which sits right next to the Knowledge Graph results or below Knowledge Graph results on mobile.
There's very little evidence yet of what it's doing in real terms. Yes, it's there, but at the moment, it's one of those interesting things. Oh, look, if I have a Google Plus presence, Google is sometimes pulling that into into this data that it's using. Is it only doing it for people that have already circled you? That's one thing to check. Is it only doing it for people who are themselves active on G+, or is this, like your Twitter links and LinkedIn links? If you have those, Google will also often pull those into a card. So it's worth being aware that those things are sometimes features, not necessarily tied to benefits. The benefits are going to be, what are they going to find if they go through that? Why would they go through that Twitter link instead of to your homepage, which was the main thing in that knowledge box? So it's something to look at, and most importantly, these are questions to then ask yourself. Bill?
Yeah, right now Google is showing in a knowledge graph, knowledge panel for me, people also search for, and it says that people also search for George Orwell, Gene Roddenberry, Tim Berners-Lee. When people, people who search for me, I'm not sure why people are looking for those people, but I'm sort of honored by the company I'm in there.
I
We,
saw those one time when I was searching for you. And I was
yeah,
like, wow.
That's going to be my fault, Bill, or else it's going to be, these people have all written about robots.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, William Rock has a question. Yes, let me bring it up here. They feel that they know you from online before they actually find you. I put that Y in there. I think that's what you meant, William. Then it is important to find the analytics that can help us find the 10x what helped them tip the sale. So we're going to dip into analytics here about, looking at what you did to get them there. So it's a long trail. Is that my understanding? Is that correct?
I can't speak for William's intention here, but what I'm getting from this, and certainly something that I would say is absolutely true, is analytics is still important, measurement is still important. It's great to have theories, it's great to take guesses, but at the end of the day, you then want to measure whether you were right. And analytics helps you there. And when I say analytics, I mean the field. I do not mean Google Analytics. Google Analytics is one tool. It's very, very popular because it's free. It's free because Google get a lot of data from it.
as we sometimes discuss, places like Twitter are really informative because they provide feedback. If you actually get involved in some social listening and listen to what people are talking about when they're talking about your business, you may learn things that you otherwise wouldn't get, you wouldn't hear about through even something like analytics. I've had people on LinkedIn tell me that they found me through a mention on Coursera. And it's like online MOOC or educational class as somebody who knows something about SEO. It's nice to learn that I'm being talked about that way. I wouldn't have known that from LinkedIn, from analytics. I've been referred to by places like the Yahoo Shopping Network as somebody who knows something about e-commerce. Again, not something I would have learned from analytics, but rather from the fact that I bothered to have a discussion, a conversation with a potential client, and learned where they heard about me from.
And sometimes you can't tie it to one specific thing. You simply know that if you've done something that gets you talked about more, suddenly your brand search goes up. People searching for you by name because, okay, I heard about this guy. What comes up when I type his name into a search engine? And that may be because somebody mentioned you in a presentation at a search conference. Or it's amazing the small things that can trigger it and how often. But I always say that water cooler conversations are still absolutely vital in all kinds of aspects of online marketing today. because even when we've searched for something, we will often ask the opinions of friends and colleagues. We'll certainly ask our spouse's opinion before making most major decisions, or at least if we don't, we won't make that mistake twice. Uh, we still talk to each other, and talk isn't yet being tracked. Android's working on it, but it's not yet being tracked. So you also need to, I would say, step beyond Google Analytics, certainly beyond all of the regular dashboards. There is a huge place still for people to have actual web logs that are tracking every call to the server, and you are able to tell a lot from that.
Right. It's worthwhile logging into Google Webmaster Console and downloading links pointing to your website and looking at those links and what they actually say about you or your site. So you want to spend the time doing that.
Well, I think any place you can get information about yourself, your business, adds to the mix of really refining who your market is and what they're really looking for. I mean, I think that's been the trend of our conversation today, but it's really important. So William Rock says, thank you. Yes, analytics is not only Google, but going back to the data and refining your site to adapt. Yes. How can you better define your landing page with data? Can it bring more conversions?
Yeah. And this is one of the areas, again, where I always say if you're only going to bring one expert in to your business, the first expert you bring in should be an analytics expert, somebody who really knows what they're doing, who can help you understand what to measure, how to measure it, and how to interpret the numbers that you're getting as well. A classic thing there was a company who'd been doing a lot of web marketing over the years. It was quite a large company, medium-sized, I'd say. They had invested in lots of things that drew traffic to their site, and they said, well, look, most of it isn't converting. Our number one conversion term is people searching for our company name. 80% of all our business is from people who just type our name directly in, or even come directly to our site. And it was a real battle to explain to this company, well, yes, because they're converting on a second or third visit. But without that first visit, there wouldn't have been a second or a third visit. What's bringing in the new traffic that's making them aware of you, that's making them later remember you and search for you by name? So if you cut out that stuff that you're spending money on that you think is only driving 20% of your conversions, you'll find that that 80% portion gets an awful lot smaller. Mm-hmm. If people haven't heard of you, they're not typing in your name, and all of that stuff that you weren't tying to conversions, oh look, they come, they look around a bit, they disappear. Yeah, that's why they're then coming back later. Of course they're going off, it's what I mentioned earlier, they're going off to have a conversation with the guy at the water cooler. I found this, what do you think? To talk with their spouse. You know, I saw a really good offer for this, but I'll need to ask you before I go filling in the form. Those are the kind of things.
Those are the things.
Right. One of the clients I worked with was getting lots of traffic to the website based on commercials that they had on TV, but they would have people coming to the website based on searches where they search for the characters in the commercials and something about the characters, and those would bring them to the website, which was good. They were getting people to the website. They wanted to rank better for the products that they offered, the services that they provided, though, and compete against their biggest competitors for those things. And when you search for the characters' names in commercials, you're possibly less likely to be a customer than if you're searching for the thing that you actually need. That you have a desire to, the service that you're looking for. And they wanted more certainty, that's what people were finding them for. And so we for a while they changed their commercials around so they had less memorable characters, and they mentioned the products that they were providing more frequently in those commercials, which was kind of odd to see, but it was funny that they were doing that. And we changed around the SEO so that the products were more prominent on their website, and they ended up being found more frequently for those. And they were happy about that.
That's a great example of how we started. We've come full circle, but about getting people to your website. If they're coming there for that charming, fun character, but they're not coming there for your business or your products or your service, it's not helping. It's not helping the business.
Yeah.
So
it's one of the things is that people always come to us and say, we want more traffic. And probably there's people in the audience right now thinking, I want more traffic. You don't. You want more business. And if you look at the traffic you're getting and what percentage of that is converting, you'd probably have half as much traffic for twice as much business given the option. So do remember to go wide in your thinking and to remember what your real goals are. Your goals are that you want to be doing more business. And that means attracting the right people at the right times. Don't necessarily think that getting more traffic is the answer. Sometimes the real answer isn't getting any more people at all. It's doing a better job at removing those obstacles and providing the assistance to those who were interested enough to visit but weren't quite convinced to buy.
Right.
Yeah, I had that experience with a client where he was getting lots of traffic to his site, but it was a travel site, a travel services site, and there were all these beautiful pictures. And people would come, look at the pictures, and leave, and nothing would happen. And we did a lot of work with the written content on the site, and as much as I possibly could with a lot of prodding, changing some things in the website design itself and what happened when people got there. But the bottom line of it is that the actual traffic numbers reduced. The number of people who visited the site went down, not a lot, but it went down. But what happened was that people were spending 6 to 8 minutes on the site looking at other pages and getting really involved, and that's what you want. That's what you want when people, however they get there and however you set up your optimization and anything else that you do, what you want is for people to get involved and for people to ask questions and to engage with you there. That doesn't mean that he had very high ticket items, so it was, so that was it's a long sale. But the first part of the sale is getting people there and getting them involved and getting them to ask questions. What about
Well, I see that Sheila's in the audience. Hello, Sheila. And of course, Sheila used to work in real estate. And this is one of the things I've heard this from realtors. I need to do more showings. I need to, be showing people more, because they assume that the conversion rate is going to be reasonably much the same. And for some, that's quite true. The more showings they do, the more they're known to people, the more even the people who they've shown properties that didn't buy may talk about those properties to others. So, we get that kind of brand uplift there. But of course, for others, they'd much rather be just doing the showings that actually have a good chance of conversion. If you wanted to do more showings, it's really easy. You go free coffee with every showing, and anybody who's got nothing to do may well come on a tour of some of these great houses. Or you do the mansions of the rich tour. Have a free look around these houses that are on the market right now. Well, yeah, you'll get a lot of looky-loos who don't even have the money, who couldn't get the money for those kind of things, because you've now turned it into a different kind of event. You're not attracting customers.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Right.
need
I
to
think
understand.
real estate is a perfect example of the water cooler system.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you are going to want to check out the neighbourhood. What's it like to live there? Talk to people you know who either have lived there or do live there. All of those kind of things are going to play into it. Yes, the search terms, getting known is a part of it, being trusted is a part of it, but you've got to understand it is only a part of the overall process. You do the best you can with your part, but you understand there are other parts to this as well. But it could be that you help people find second opinions, that actually these are second opinions, they're genuine, but they might help you a little bit as well. You might show them, what the local community sites are. There could be a local forum or group that is discussing all the wonderful things about this area that you would connect people with. And that way they can feel like they've already made friends in the area before they've even moved there. All of these kind of things can play into it, and understanding your market, first point of the show, but it's where we will constantly come back to.
Right. One of my clients was a apartment complex. It was an apartment tower. They had a 4-page website where they told you very little information. And one of the things you want to know if you're going to move into an apartment is more about the location. Where the school's at? Where the post office? Uh, where the shopping centers? They were right above the Washington Metro line, and they had an elevator in their lobby that brought you down to the metro. You
Wow.
could hop on the metro and go to 35 different Smithsonian museums, which were free. So it was a great way to entertain your kids on a Saturday morning. By and it would have been good to put information about that on their website. They didn't have it.
Yep.
Just
Yes,
provide that.
I think I agree with you, Bill, and I think one of the things that people in situations like that with apartment buildings or property like that is they assume that people can go look and find that information. What's the neighborhood like? That they can go do that. And of course they can go do that, but why would you want them to leave your website to go somewhere else to find
More
that
importantly,
information?
where are they going to get that information? And is that person providing that information going to send them to you, or is he going to send them to a realtor or somebody that dealt with them? This is coming back to that thing I was saying earlier about, the holiday sites. Oh, look, here's our hotel. It's got beds and a towel. Here's our property. Look, it's got a kitchen. It's got a bathroom. Guess what? They all do talk about why this house. What's it closer to? What's the feel? What's the neighborhood? What's the first thing of getting it out of your door every day? What's the journey to work going to be like? What's the traffic like? Instead of a virtual tour of the house showing me around the house, I would love a video of the drive in morning rush hour to the centre of town. That's going to tell me a lot more about whether I want to live there.
And there are tools that are developing on the web. Like there's a thing called a walkability score,
Yeah.
where you go to the location you're interested in, put the address in, and see what's actually within walking distance nearby. For you to go shopping at, for you to go to the post office to, for you to run around and do other errands, where the nearest public transportation is, how distant the commutes are to work, and so on. Yeah.
See, those
It's one of those
are
things
the
where
things I was mentioning before, that you can go find all that information by entering the location address,
And you could have that on your own website.
and you can have it on your own website, and that's the important connection. Don't make them go somewhere else when they can find it right there.
Right.
exactly that. Connect with various people. If they do take this house, they're going to need to change their doctor. They're going to need a new dentist. They're going to need to register at the schools. Why not provide a directory of some of the numbers that they're going to want to help them?
Right.
And it shows that you already understand them as a customer, the things they're going to have to do. You're making their list easier. They feel that you understand them better. So they're more likely to trust the things you say about the property as well. Your sales pitch is going to be more effective because they feel you understand them and care about them.
That's so true. We've gone way over our time limit, and Sheila asked for more, but I think it's time to wrap it up. So, would each of you like to take, just a brief wrap-up statement? Any takeaways you want to leave with our viewers and listeners?
Bill?
Sure. I think I'll start. That's okay. Okay, so search engine optimization is your opportunity as a site owner to find the people you want to visit your site and make it easier for them to actually become a customer of yours, to take advantage of the services that you offer, the goods that you offer, and become part of your community. And it's worth researching them, finding out more about them, making life easier for them, making them want to say yes. Give people a chance to be responsive, and it's more likely they will be.
Oh, I like that. Give people a chance to be more responsive. Ammon?
One of the big things that separates the really good SEOs from the rest is that a lot of SEOs look at SEO is about the intersection of the site and the search engine. And that's only one side of a triangle. The actual thing is that it's all about the user of search as well. And that one extra point gives two extra sides, because it's about how your business is interacting with that search user and about how the search engine is interacting with that search user. And if you're not looking at all three parts of that and finding the balance, it's not really going to work. If you try tricking the engine, oh look, it's all about us ranking #1, but the users don't like that result and they're often going to that site but still going on to search more, then that's sending a very clear indication to the search engine that you're not a good result, and it will demote you. No matter how well you conform to their guidelines, the fact that you're not pleasing the user, and the user of search is their business. Google needs people to keep using Google. So Google's results need to be consistently good, that people feel, I use Google, I always find what I want. Maybe not the very first click, but I always find what I want. If Google starts getting bad results, people start looking at other search engines. So understand that. We did have one comment I quickly wanted to jump on. A couple of people mentioned bounce rates. It's essential that you understand with analytics. The reason I say get an expert, it's essential to understand what you are measuring and what you aren't measuring. When SEOs talk about bounce rates, they're often talking about a different thing to what analytics means by bounce rates. And analytics looks at bounce rates as they hit one URL. They asked for a page, and as far as we can tell, they left. But they can't tell how long they were on the page. They can't tell whether that tab sat open being studied for hours or whether it was read quickly. And they can't tell whether they left satisfied, and that's why they didn't go on to a second page, that answered the question they had, or whether it's because they went there, took a quick look, didn't like it, went off. Now Google can tell if they go back to search results. So bounce back to SERP is a whole different thing, and SEOs talk about that a lot. But you need to understand that sometimes your page will not get a second view because it answered the questions they had at that time. There, it's much more important to know, did they bookmark it? Did I suggest that they bookmark it? Is this a page that's likely to answer questions? Have I opened a door to further dialogue? Have I invited them to look into something else? Have I suggested what their next question may be? Because those are things that your page should be doing that will intervene in your bounce rates and make you more successful. Understand what you're not measuring as well as what you are.
The person who may have spent only 20 seconds on your web page may have spent that 20 seconds dialing your phone number
Exactly.
and may now be a customer, a very happy customer.
Ammon, thank you for that. I didn't bring those questions up because we were so near the end of the time. That is the most succinct answer I have heard anyone give about bounce rate. So thank you very, very much for that. This has been just a fabulous, fabulous discussion, and I know we could go on for a longer time, but we're going to bring it to a close. I want to thank all the Zapsters who are here today and weathered through with the various glitches of Frozen and not being able to see Bill. We still don't know why we couldn't see Bill today. We tried everything, bandwidth, all those things before the show. None of it resolved the issue. So I really want to thank you all for staying with us and weathering through and focusing on the information. So thank you all, and thank you, Bill and Ammon. Just terrific. I don't know what else to say, just terrific. Thanks so much. All right, we'll see you next month. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.